Hi everybody, this is Amanda Ellis of amandaellis.co.uk and Facebook page Angelic Celestial Colours. That's spelt the European way with a U in colours. And you're watching me on YouTube, which is, my channel is Amanda Ellis 11, and I've got a lot of videos up now on my channel, so if you're new to finding me, have a look back and just see what resonates. It's the 11th of July 2017, and as I often say, I didn't realise I was going to be making a video today. I probably should have known, because I have talked a lot in the past that number 11 is a number associated with Archangel Metatron. It's a master number. It's a teaching vibration as well. So I feel that this video is very much going to be hopefully about teaching, inspiring, and just bringing through some new information. And what he's asking me to talk about today is crop circles. And well, that's one of the big things. It might stray into a few other areas, but I do know that crop circles are one of the things that he wants me to talk about. And it's actually only, what is it? It's 10 to 10 here in the UK in the morning as I'm making this. I've just had my breakfast, got myself ready, sitting down to do some work. And just over breakfast, there were just like sheets of information that I just had to put it down on paper because it was coming through so quickly. And I wanted this video to be fairly structured, if that's possible when you're working with spirit. And I didn't want to forget or miss something that he's already told me to talk about. So we're going to be breaking this down into 3 parts, this video. It might be a long video, so what I might try and do is put some time tags on it, because it's going to be in 3 parts. There is a part where Mother Earth, Gaia herself, wants to speak, and I feel that will be the first part. The second part is where Archangel Metatron wants to speak, and that is definitely bringing through information on crop circles. And then the third part is going to be bringing in the galactic energy, a galactic being that wants to step forward to speak, particularly linked into crop circles, but I don't know, by the time we've got there, we might be into a different territory. I really don't know. So that's what we're going to be doing. To just help me warm up as well, I'm just going to light some incense here. I've got some sage, which I'm going to just burn. So I'm just going to put that on out of camera. Ooh, shaky hands. That's because I'm actually quite excited about what's going to be coming through, but I will just ground myself a little bit. Let's use the Metatron Earth Elemental Spray. And actually, if I just put this one up to the light, you can see it's slightly damaged in the way that it looks. It's only damaged because I've basically allowed it to leak a little bit around the top, so it's not a perfect looking bottle. But I quite like that in a way. It feels symbolic for the earth itself at this moment in time, which is damaged, we know that, and which is in need of care and attention and wants us to allow its voice today. Okay, so let me just spray this to ground myself and also ground you, and just acknowledge, actually more than anything, this earth that we're all standing on right now. So if you, together with me, can just link into your own roots underneath your feet and really just dig them deep down into Mother Earth, right into her core, and also connect into your anchor point. There is a silver cord, a silver anchor that attaches you right to the core of Mother Earth. So just sink into that and just feel the steadiness and the peace. And then we are going to just allow the wisdom of the earth and the love of the earth just to start to flow back up into us. So just feeling an energy flow now coming up through your own feet, into your ankles, up into your shins, your knees, your hips. And it's as though we're all supported and we're all held by Mother Earth today. Okay, so we've set that. So I've got the Earth Elemental here. I've also got the 4 other Archangel Metatron Elemental sprays, and I will just show you what they are in case you've forgotten. It's actually a while since I've talked about them. I ran 2 courses on the elements last year, 2016. No, 3 courses, America, Canada and UK, and since then, I mean, they sell consistently well, but I personally haven't talked about them much, so I wanted to bring them back in today. We've got the element of fire, which is the dragon energy. I've also got, I've set out a little mandala here to help us create the energy we need for this video. I've got my little red jasper fire dragon. We've got the element of air, which comes in with the energy of the bird and the sky, freedom. We've got the energy of water and the energy of dolphin. And we've got what I'm calling the cosmos energy, okay? So the great expanse, beyond. I've got 2 other bottles here to help me. I've got Archangel Sandalphon, who comes in on a bronze ray. And I've got the Tree of Life, which I'm going to be using later because I know one of the crop circles that's appeared in the UK over the last few weeks actually represents the Tree of Life, so we'll use that to try and connect in. I've got a Colour Mirrors bottle here, which is called the Hearth, which is orange, and mine's actually gone clear on top, but usually it's a pale pink. I have my Galactic Being crystal. And I have some crystals which I just want to show you. I've got Petrovsky stone, gifted to me by a lovely lady in America. It's really, really ancient. Got petrified wood, which I love. I've got this crystal here, which doesn't look like much. I'll just zoom in on that. I don't know how many of you know this one, but it's actually corallite. Comes from New Zealand, I believe, and it's a very ancient tree resin. Copal. And I've got something called Revelation Stone. And then I picked this one up, which I'm not actually sure what it is. I think actually it's a bit of tiger's eye, a little bit of tiger's eye. And I've also got, this was gifted to me last week in Dublin. This is my Metatron accelerator. You can see it's beautiful. So, with all that being said, and just with the sage just to bring in whatever we need to hear, let's first open this up and let's allow in the energy of Mother Earth, Gaia, to speak to us. And I am just going to use the earth spray once again to help me with this. So the image that I've been receiving this morning quite repeatedly from Mother Earth is she is presenting herself as a mother, okay? And I'm being shown the stages of birth, because what the earth is trying to do is to ascend to a higher frequency, to evolve, to ascend like we all are. And this has been ongoing for a number of years, as we know. And if you think about the analogy of birth, I am being shown the later stages of birth, okay? So she's almost saying to us today that what we have been witnessing geophysically as well in our world, but also in terms of weather patterns, anything that really relates to the natural world, including, she is saying, extinction of animals. So the way that animals are becoming extinct, or the way that animals are behaving in their natural habitat. It's the whole spectrum of the changes that we've been witnessing over decades in our natural world, in the earth. It's all been part of the ascension, it's all been part of the evolution of our planet. And just as some of us, human beings, won't make it through the ascension process, so too some species of animals won't either. And that's not a negative, it's due to the fact that maybe that particular species has actually learnt all they needed to learn on this planet, or who have taught us all that we were actually able to take in at this time on our planet. Nothing ever dies anyway. Everything gets recycled. Any species that become extinct simply go to a different place, to a different dimensional reality, and they live there. So there's no such thing as true extinction. There is just evolution. But she's talking about the fact that all the changes that we've seen, including geophysical, including with regard to animals, have been the earlier stages of the birthing process. And she wants us to prepare, without going into fear mode, that there are some bigger changes to materialize over the next decade in particular. But it may well be sooner than that. And the analogy of birth is that to be able to birth the baby, to actually push it out of the birth canal, and the baby is symbolic of the new earth, the new human, the new divine human that wants to walk upon this new ascended earth as equal. There is often a few painful contractions before that moment of real ecstasy and relief, and like, oh, thank God, you know, it's here and I can see it's here, and there is a physical reality, i.e. I'm holding my baby, and all of that pain was worth it. But the stages just before that happens can be quite difficult, okay? So she's wanting to prepare us for that. She is wanting us to draw on the energy of our ancestors. And she's talking not just ancestors from a few generations ago, she's talking about ancestors who are in our family line, who walked this planet during times of huge change and upheaval. And she's talking about, I'm going back to Stone Age, you know, that's how far back she's taking me. Also going back to Ice Age. It's not to say we're about to enter something like that again, but we're certainly going to see very extreme conditions, and none of us should be complacent of that. And what she is saying also is that rest assured, the decisions have already been made by your soul in terms of whether you are here to see this change through, or whether you choose to vibrate at a different frequency and choose to go elsewhere. All is perfect in the greater scheme of things, okay? Right, I'm being drawn now to use the fire elemental energy for some reasons. Let's just see what comes through with the energy of fire. I know I'm surrounded by smoke. Let's just see what the dragon energy in particular and the energy of fire wants to say to us. So fire is the great purifier, and fire represents alchemy, I'm being told. Fire, and I believe we're going to be seeing more and more of it, and we already have been seeing more and more of it during this year. And I believe I'm right in saying that 2017 is the year of, is it the fire rooster, or it's the fire something anyway in Chinese astrology. So fire is the purifier, but fire is also the alchemist. And if you think about it, I'm being shown putting metal into fire, and for it to come out again shaped differently. You know, you can mold something in fire, can't you? It's how horseshoes are made. I'm being shown a horseshoe, which is the symbol of good luck. So something that at the moment, and this feels like it may be us, it might be representing us, that feels quite leaden, feels quite afraid, feels quite stuck, feels as though, you know, how are we ever going to get to this new earth? How are we ever going to ascend higher? It's as though through the energy of fire and the element of fire this year, fire is going to help us to transform from that leaden state to a more golden state. But also I'm seeing the words flexibility and being able to, is it malleability? It's that thing about being able to mold something, to change basically something which looks like a rod of iron into what I'm seeing here as the beautiful horseshoe. And the horseshoe feels as though it is an important symbol for us at this time. And it may well be, I mean, certainly in olden days in the UK, I think I grew up in a 16th century cottage, and we used to have a brass horseshoe on our front door. I don't know actually what happened to it, but I'm being told that as a symbol, the horseshoe is quite important at this time, because it's going to bring in luck. It's also going to bring in protection, but more than anything, if you think about what a horseshoe is actually for, it's to put on the soft sole of a horse to allow it to walk, to allow it to walk properly. And in that way, the horseshoe is being given to us at this time to help us walk on the new earth. Now, I'm being drawn over there because I've got a book over there on signs and symbols, and I'm being told that there is something about the horseshoe in it. So I am going to grab it and I'm going to read whatever is on that page, because I've got no idea. Hold on. This is actually a book that I found in a shop in London. I just walked in when I was starting to do the work on the Ankh, and I walked in and I opened it up onto the page, and it just had the Ankh. So it's called Discovering Signs and Symbols by Kirsten Riddle. It's very simple, it's very straightforward, and I'm sort of hoping that there is something here about the horseshoe. Let's just see whether I'm right. It's got so many different ones. It's got the Ankh, Tree of Life. I wonder if there's a horse, 54. It's got horse. Let's see what horse is about. I'm being told this book for some reason. 54. Okay. Okay, well, I'm going to, it's not exactly what I thought it was going to be, but you know, that's the thing about working with spirit, you've just got to go with the flow. So I'm going to read what's on this page. It says, find a beautiful image of wild horses galloping and keep it on your desk or somewhere in your workplace. I'm laughing because I've got to show you something. It will motivate you and help you climb the career ladder, but it doesn't have to just be the career ladder. We were talking about horseshoes in terms of helping us to walk this new earth and to overcome the obstacles. And it's so funny, it talks about we need a picture of a beautiful image of wild horses galloping. This is what is above my desk. Hold on. Oh, come off. See that? Okay, I'm just going to put that up so you can actually see it. This is a piece of art that I bought, I don't know, 4 months ago from Jane Delaford Taylor. And you can see that it's a horse and she's actually galloping through water, okay? And the horse is there as champion, okay? The horse is there as the one to help her. The horse is the one to help her over rough waters. So there's something here about the energy of the horse. There's definitely something here about the energy of the horseshoe that's coming up. So I'm going to just leave that with you, but I'm just going to let you tune into this beautiful painting. Isn't it absolutely lovely? I really related to this when I saw it. So Mother Earth is saying the horses are here to stay, which I know is going to please a lot of you. The horses are here to stay, and the horses are here to teach us a lot as well, okay? Particularly with regard to children that are maybe autistic or, you know, special needs, or just anybody basically who has an emotional healing requirement. You know, horses are very good at helping to deal with that. Okay, don't know how we got onto horses, but we did. Right. Let's move on then, and let's look a little bit at crop circles now. So I'm just going to pause this. And we're going to look at crop circles. Actually, before I do that, I'm being told to say to you, I'm hearing the word, the four horses of the apocalypse. I think I'm right in saying that. There were four horses of the apocalypse. Is that right? I'm going to Google that just to make sure I am correct in that, because that's not what's about to happen. It's actually the reverse. It's the reverse of the apocalypse. It's actually the coming of the new earth. I just do want to make sure I'm right in this before I just go off on something that might not be correct. Apocalypse. Oh, come on. Good old Apple phones, hey? Oh, I hadn't switched it on. I nearly did this as a Facebook Live, but so there'll be lots of gaps like this when I do Facebook Live. But I haven't really got the time for new technology today. Oh, I am right, thank you. Okay, I've got it here. The 4 horses of the apocalypse. The Lamb of God, or Lion of Judah, Jesus Christ, opens the first 4 of the 7 seals, which summons forth 4 beings that ride out on white, red, black and pale horses. Okay, although some interpretations differ, in most accounts the 4 riders are seen as symbolising conquest, war, famine and death. Right, I'm not scaring you here because that's not what I'm saying is about to happen, okay? It's the opposite of what is about to happen. And I'm just pulling up here now a crop circle that I wanted to talk to you about anyway, which has got 4 circles on it. And I think these 4 circles represent these 4 horses. Right, excuse the lack of technical brilliance with my work, but you know, hey ho, it's just me and a camera at the end of the day. That is the crop circle that I'm wanting to talk about now, okay? And you can see that we've got 4 circles there, and we've got 1 in the middle as well. And I'm actually being told here, there are many different interpretations, of course, for any crop circle, but I'm seeing these 4 circles here representing the 4 horses. But these 4 horses have got nothing to do with those qualities that I just talked about in terms of war, famine. Those are the things that we've lived with as a generation and as a world for years. So I'm just going to pull them back up because I want to replace them with 4 positive words of what the 4 horses actually represent. Right, where are my 4 words gone? Here we go. So we've got war, so the opposite of war is peace. We've got famine, the opposite of famine is plenty. We've got death, the opposite of death is life. And conquest. Need to tune into that one. Okay, so we've got 4 qualities: peace, plenty, life, and conquest. What would conquest be? Opposite of conquest. Because conquering the earth. That's what it's all been about, hasn't it? For thousands of years, man's come and he's tried to conquer the earth. And look where it's led us. You know, it's led us almost to that point of apocalypse, but it's not going to happen because spirit won't allow it. And so that circle there, those 4 circles represent these new qualities that want to come in: peace, plenty, life, conquest. Let's use the cosmos spray to see if we can bring in what the opposite vibration would be. So this is the cosmos Metatron energy. I'm hearing the word equality. That might change, you know, there can be other interpretations of these. Those are the 4 words that Metatron is giving me here: equality, life, peace, and plenty. Just think about the power of those 4 things. And it's as though there are 4 horses here wanting to come in, bringing in to us as a species. We're represented by that, the circle in the middle. This is humanity basically, and these 4 riders, and there are spaces here for them to enter. Peace, plenty, life and equality. Imagine if those 4 things merged into that centre where all of us are, the world would be completely and utterly transformed. I knew that was a powerful crop circle when I saw it, because you often see crop circles, and to be honest, some of them aren't authentic and you can sort of just tell. But I sort of knew that that one was. I still want to talk a little bit more about that because I still think there's a bit more to come. But anyway, that just needed to come in now. I told you this was off the off the cuff. Right, let's allow Archangel Metatron to speak. I'm going to have to take my cardigan off because I'm getting hot with all this energy. Right, Archangel Metatron. He's already told me a few things, so I'm going to look at my notes here, and I'm going to bring in the energy of the Tree of Life spray just to help me. So, a few things Metatron is saying about crop circles. The first thing he showed me this morning was the, excuse my pronunciation if I get this wrong, the Nazca Lines in Peru. I don't know if that's the way you pronounce it, Nazca, Nazca Lines in Peru. We've probably all seen those pictures in the dim and distant past. You know, National Geographic would have had beautiful and still have beautiful images of, you know, mile upon mile of lines that date back God knows how many thousands of years, and nobody knows how they got there. Nobody even knows really what they mean. There are different interpretations, just as there are for crop circles. But actually one of the things they do have within them are images of animals, interestingly. So the animals are definitely coming into this video a lot. So yes, he wanted me to talk about those lines more, that whenever they were made, and I don't know when they were made, you know, some of you might have researched them, you know, and be able to comment, but whenever they were made, which I guess was thousands of years ago, there needed to be, at that time upon the planet, a permanent reminder of their energy, you know, of what they were trying to do, to encode something within the earth, to encode something within humanity at that time, to teach something at that time, and also just to have something for prosperity, so that other generations could scratch their heads and try and figure it out as well. But they needed to be permanent. And in the same way, I mean, they're obviously flat, but in the same way that if you look at the pyramids in ancient Egypt and you look at other very important monuments around the world, but it was the pyramids in particular I was hearing, they also had to be lasting monuments to a consciousness more than anything. Yes, a consciousness that needed to be left upon the planet, that held within it codes that were extremely important, that would reveal themselves to future generations when the time was right, and the time is coming for that, particularly with regard to the pyramids. But they were there to serve the generation that lived as they were being built, but equally they also serve us now. But they are obviously permanent reminders, and they are permanent record keepers, in the same way that the Nazca Lines are permanent history makers and permanent recorders of energy. And we know that. And he's also talking about the pyramids, of course, are sacred geometry in 3D, you know, whereas the Nazca Lines are flat. The pyramids obviously are in 3D. So we've got both representations on our planet at this time of something that's flat and linear, but which we can read and which we can link into and receive the energy from. And we also have the 3D representation of the sacred geometry as well. Crop circles, what the hell is going on here? What he's saying is, now, because things are changing so fast upon our planet, the energy is changing more rapidly, and the consciousness of people is changing more rapidly than it ever has done. I want to repeat that, than it ever has done in any other time period that man has basically lived upon this earth. You know, it's extraordinary, the changes that are happening in one generation to generation. You know, and even if you don't think about that in spiritual terms, although in spiritual terms it's completely mind-blowing in that people are opening up to big concepts and big energies, and embracing their own spirituality and turning away from being told what to believe, and instead going inward and feeling for what they believe. That's never happened before in this world. on this earth, in this solar system. So it's absolutely huge. But even if you don't think about it in spiritual terms, if you just think in very practical 3D terms, you know, I'm 50 and I remember what a black and white television was. You know, my daughter can't get her head around that. What, you used to watch TV and it was black and white? You know, what, you never had a computer as a child? You never had a mobile phone? You know, what are you? Well, I'm just a 50-year-old woman, Lucy. You know, that's true of all of my generation. These things that are now so commonplace, and technologies that are so commonplace and that have completely revolutionized and changed our world, have come in within the last couple of decades. Okay, it is staggering, the advances in mankind's technology and equally in mankind's spirituality. And because of this, when the universe comes in and tries to bring us wisdom in a coded form, it can't be permanent anymore, because they could come in and they could come in and make that permanent. Say that arrived and it was a permanent thing. It couldn't be harvested. It couldn't be erased from the ground. Somehow that was there, and that was never going to be removed from the earth. It was scorched into the earth in some way. That energy will be redundant by the end of this year. It will certainly be redundant by the end of next year. And 6 months to a year in the scheme of this planet's time frame is like 1 second of our breath. It's nothing, okay? So Spirit have had to find a way to bring us coded information in a much more direct way. Metatron's laughing at me and saying it's a bit like a news flash. It's like breaking news. That's what it is. That's what they're trying to do. Rather than it being something that's set in stone, like the pyramid, like the Nazca Lines, which is there for all eternity, and was needed to have stayed in place for that length of time. These new codes that are coming in, they are changing so quickly that it literally is a case of, it's in a crop, you see it, you tune into it. By the time that crop is harvested at the end of its natural cycle, we're onto a whole other code that's come in anyway. Okay, and he's also Metatron is also talking about the fact of the Earth's spin. Okay, he's talking about the Earth's spin and the Earth's rotation, and he's saying he was answering my question really in terms of, well, why are the crop circles only appearing in certain parts of the world? Because there are huge parts of the world where this isn't happening. This phenomenon isn't happening. And yeah, of course, we've all seen, you know, the news stories that it's like 2 men and a washing board who are going out with a piece of string making these. And hats off to them if they are, because probably they are able to do some of them. They're not able to do the complex ones. There are authentic, genuine crop circles out there, and there are also the fakes. But even the fakes, Metatron is saying, to be able to actually even have the willpower, to have the determination, to have the strength, to have the idea of even doing one, there is a consciousness that's come into that person and asked them to help. Don't forget, we're all earth angels at the end of the day. We're all doing Spirit's work. And so the ones who think somehow that they're playing a joke on us, in a way the joke's on them. Well, not really, but you know, you get my point, because they're actually being used by Spirit for us, okay? So don't worry about, you know, is this one fake, is that one not? At the end of the day, they're all codes that have come in. Some of them are generated absolutely from a higher power, and we'll come to that in a moment. And some of them are generated by man. But the ones that are generated by man, the idea for the shape, the idea for the formation, the idea for the date on which they need to be created, and the conditions that are needed to ensure that they are successful, that all gets dropped in by Spirit. In the same way that the person who invented the internet, or invented the mobile phone, or invented colour TV, these are all inventions that we like to think, oh, they're man-made, and isn't that person clever? But that person was only ever following divine guidance, okay? It is the divine that is always in charge and pushing us forward through our evolution. But yeah, the earth is spinning, and they are appearing in certain places in the world in particular, just because at this particular time in our Earth's history, there are some hot spots upon the earth, basically, for these to happen. Anchor points, if you like, portals. And portals and anchor points open up and close all the time, really. But there is obviously a hot spot in the UK, in England, particularly in the southwest of England at the moment. It won't always necessarily be in this country. I know there are other ones that appear in other places as well. But Metatron is wanting you to know that it's to do with the spin of the earth, the rotation of the earth. It's almost as though things have to line up in a certain way for a natural, authentic crop circle to take place, and for the earth to be at a particular point at that time in its rotational spin, and for it to be the right date and the right time and the right energy for that to be stamped and coded upon the earth, okay? But in another generation, the earth's spin is going to be slightly different. It's going to be faster, it's going to be slower, I've no idea, but it's going to be different. And it won't necessarily be the UK, for example, that keeps lining up at the right moment, at the right time to receive the, I'm hearing the word genetic imprint. That's interesting. I'm just going to write that word down, genetic imprint. Okay. I want to say something here about Metatron is asking us to not just look at the actual shape of the crop circle when it appears, although that is important, obviously, to look at the date on which they appear. There is numerology that we are completely missing. We are completely failing to acknowledge. Even the fact that I had no idea I was going to be doing this video today, but it had to be today that I talk about this. And today is the 11th of July, 2017. So we know it's an 11 day. I'm just going to add up the digits to see what else it is. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. It's a 19 day. 9 and 1 make 10, 1 and 0 make 1. So we're at a 1 vibration. So it's an 11 day with a 1 vibration. It's quite a powerful day, actually. 1 is about new beginnings. It's also linked into leadership. It's linked into the energy of the sun. It's a strong day. Okay, it probably is just a day which needed this strength to bring this information through. So look at the dates on how they appear. Now, going back to that crop circle I showed you earlier, my computer's turned itself off. I'm pretty sure that it appeared on the 5th of July. Let's just have a look. Breathe. Hold on, bear with me. Oh, forget it. I hate computers sometimes. No, I thank computers for all they give us. I'm pretty sure I'm right in saying it was the 5th of July that circle with the 5 circles came up. So to me, that also links to 5th dimensional consciousness. You know, those 4 horses of peace, plenty, life and equality are coming in to bring about the 5th dimensional consciousness, and that crop circle appeared on the 5th of July. You know, you've got to use your intuition to tune in to any of them, because I've just given you one interpretation. There will be many, many interpretations, and that's the whole point. It's not about this is what it means and it's the only definitive meaning of it. It is about tune into it. What does that crop circle and that formation and that shape say to you? Okay. I've sort of been saying, I think, till I'm, I don't know, blue in the face, that, you know, two things that Metatron, Archangel Metatron, is very much associated with is colour, the rainbow, and sacred geometry. Okay, and sacred geometry in the natural world is actually pretty easy to find. You can see it in a nautilus shell, you can see it in a starfish, you can see it in the pyramids, you can see it in the moon, the perfect circle of a full moon. But what he's saying to me is that none of us are really paying attention to it in the way that we ought to. Because hi, sorry for the breaks in between me talking sometimes. I will just explain. It's because I spent money on quite an expensive camera. And I didn't realise that really it would have been better to have got a camcorder or video recorder. This is just a camera, and it has a 20-minute duration, and then you have to start again. So that's why it's all a bit cobbled together. But anyway, doing the best I can. And that was quite good actually, because I took a little break, and I've just looked up the meaning of the horseshoes. I'm going to come back to that in a moment. But what Metatron was basically trying to say through me just then was the fact that we're not acknowledging the sacred geometry that we have around us a lot of the time. And the reason for that is these things, you know, it's like we're all looking down the whole time at our mobile phone, aren't we? We all do it, we're all guilty of it. And it's as though he's saying, you know, we need to be sending you things to wake you up, you know, to make you question. To make you look up, you know, to actually also make you look within, rather than just staring at this screen the whole time. And so the crop circles by nature are meant to be a mystery, okay, and they're not meant to be something that you can just completely explain 100%. And anybody that says to you, oh yeah, this is the meaning, I would have a question mark around that personally, because there are many, many different interpretations. One other thing before I move off subject is I just also want to mention Metatron is talking not just about the numerological date being important when crop circles appear and needing to tune into those if there's one in particular that catches your attention, but also look at the phase of the moon and what the moon is doing on the particular day when the crop circle is reported or found, okay, because that also will say something. Because the moon is always either waxing or waning, it's either coming into completion or it's about helping us with endings, new beginnings. You know, you need to be looking at the lunar calendar as well as the actual date calendar as such, okay? In terms of how to access the energy and the wisdom of each circle, let's just ask Metatron about that now, okay? So the most important thing is that you don't have to be standing inside one to be able to access the codes that are within it. The energy is strong enough to travel via the internet, for example, the TV screen, the printed version. And it is enough to basically just tune in and meditate upon the actual symbol itself that has appeared. You and your higher self have the ability to uncode every single one of them. And even if you can't at mental level uncode them and be able to talk in a rational way about them to another, your heart has the consciousness to be able to understand it 100% and take it into the cells of your body in a very deep and meaningful way. They are coded, each circle, to raise your vibration, to teach you something, and to alter the genetic DNA within you. If you open up the doorway to allow that to happen. So it's a bit like anything. You could have somebody looking at, this is a recent one, for example, this is the Tree of Life. You could have somebody looking at this one of the Tree of Life, which appeared in the UK quite recently, I think. Wondering what day it actually was. It came. It was reported on the 16th of June. Okay, so 16, 1 and 6 makes 7. So, you know, you can just, somebody could look at that who is in a very third dimensional vibration and receive absolutely nothing from it, and basically just see in that a field of corn with circles and lines, because essentially that's what it is. It's a field of corn with circles and lines. If you are open to a fifth dimensional way of looking at the world, what you need to do is open up your heart and your senses and allow that to speak to you in exactly the same way that you would if you have a beautiful crystal that somebody at a very third dimensional material level would look at and just see that this is a face in a crystal. Looks a bit weird, maybe, is what they might say. It's a bit heavy. It's a bit dull and speckly. They wouldn't see beyond that. Somebody with a fifth dimensional vibration will look at the same thing and realise it isn't really just about the appearance, it's about the energy, and all you have to do is basically connect in, open your heart and allow it to speak to you. It's exactly the same thing with crop circles, which is why you will get 100 or 1,000 different variations in terms of what they mean. There is not one definitive meaning, okay? They are multi-layered, is what I'm hearing. They are multi-layered, they are multi-coded, and they will speak to you at an individual level, even though they're meant for the collective consciousness, which is weird, okay? So they will work at an individual level, even though they are meant for the collective consciousness, because it's by the it's at the individual level that the collective consciousness itself gets raised. I feel like I'm giving you tongue twister type things here. I'm not meaning to, but it's just the way the information is coming through. Okay, anything else to say, Metatron? So, for example, the one there that we were just looking at, the Tree of Life. Let me just show you that, he's saying. So those of you that haven't seen this one, this appeared in the UK on the 16th of June. I've got friends that actually have gone and stood in this circle. There's a bit of controversy actually with this one as to whether it is real or not. Again, don't get caught up in that, it doesn't matter. If it's not real, somebody's consciousness has been played with, Metatron is saying, to help them generate that, so we're even talking about it, okay? But for me, okay, I've got Archangel Jophiel here, because he's saying to me, look at the beauty of it, Amanda. Because what I was about to say at human level was, I was a bit disappointed that it didn't have the 11th sphere. There's an 11th sphere, or Seratoph, that should be here, which depicts the void, Darth. And it's very important, particularly if you're like me and you work with the Archangel Metatron energy. The 11th sphere, Seratoph, is the one which is actually the great big question mark. It's the unknown. It's diving into the void. It's the indigo, light in the dark energy, which is Metatron. And it's like it's not here. And I was really disappointed. And Jophiel is saying, don't worry about that. Forget that. Look at the beauty of it. Look at the beauty of what actually is there, okay? Look at the beauty of the symmetry of those lines. Look at the other 10. What do they teach you? You know, with something like the Tree of Life, I do teach the Tree of Life within my teacher's course. What I always say to people is, at the end of the day, it's an energetic blueprint. It's a map which depicts the journey from, you know, source, the divine, through down to man, and then back up again. And one thing that strikes me about this, again, not meaning to be overly critical, because I have got Jophiel in my ear saying, look at the beauty, is that the leap from here, which is Keitha, which is Metatron, which is the realm of real, you know, unknown consciousness, to here in the centre, that feels like a hell of a leap down. It's like, how the hell do we jump from there to there? Well, that's why we've got this missing one here, which is quite important. But more than anything, for me, it would be, where are you drawn to on this? Which one is speaking to you? Do you go to the right? Do you go to the left? Do you go to the middle? Do you go to the bottom? Do you go to the top? What is it saying to you? What are you feeling? Tune into it. Open your heart up. You know, there is no right or wrong way to interpret these. So they are effectively meditation tools, but they are more than that. By allowing yourself to open up via meditation to them, you receive the coded information that is within them. Okay? Right, I'm now going to go on to talk about the galactic perspective on all this, which of course is Metatron as well, because Metatron is vast and is linked to the cosmos as well as the earth. But we're going to bring in what I'm going to call the galactic beings of light, okay? And I'm going to use this to help me. And I will just tell you a little story today. Came down, and I've made a little grid here, which I will take a photograph of so you can see what I'm looking at, because it's all the Metatron elements. It's the crystals I showed you earlier. It's the flower of life. It's the Metatron accelerator. I've obviously got my incense. I'm so smudged now. I should be shining brightly. But this one wanted to go into the mandala. So I put it onto my desk and went off to have breakfast. And it used to be up there, actually above the horses, which I had to show you earlier. And just put it down here. And then I came back up after breakfast. And this bottle, which is the Colour Mirrors bottle, which is called the Hearth, had fallen down from the shelf. And it was actually lying flat like that on my laptop. And when, you know, at the end of the day, these bottles, whichever system you work with, mine, Colour Mirrors, or Soma, doesn't matter, you know, they're all energy. It's an energy system, and they try and speak to you. So this one was saying, hold on a minute, you've forgotten me. Why haven't you got me in the mandala? And I couldn't remember what it meant, this bottle. It's orange over, pale pink over orange, although mine's gone clear. And I looked up the meaning. I've just got the words here, because this bottle, it's so perfect, is called the Hearth. The Hearth, Hearth. And of course, if you look at the word hearth, I'll just write it here for you to make it really apparent. We have H for heart, and we have earth, okay? So it's like the heart and the earth energy together. And the message that goes with this bottle, I will just read it out for you. It says, the hearth within each of us is the heart, the place of nourishment, nurturing, gathering, connection, community, oneness and warmth. This is the nourishment we have been seeking from others, from relationship, from food, from addictions. Here it is given freely and offered with huge love and no condition at all, so that it might fill us up on every level. The bottle is a profound shock absorber, embracing us in our wholeness and surrounding our small selves with such deep love that we remember again the beauty and perfection of our innocent heart and return to the hearth of pure love, the home that resides within us. And it goes on and talks a little bit more. It talks about the hearth is where we are restored to grace, so that we might ignite the flame within our hearts and spread the fire of innocence far and wide. The hearth contains heat and heart, earth and ear. When we sink into its warmth and pause to listen, it offers us comfort and love, support and inspiration. We come to the hearth to honour the divine in ourselves, in others, in our earth and our sky. We give from the hearth of our inherent goodness, our humbleness, our truth. And we receive the benevolence of the fire of creation. We love and are loved, all is well. And that bottle fell because I had taken away my galactic being, which sits beside it on my shelf right above my computer. And this is actually an oil which belongs to a range called the Starlights. And so you can see the starlight energy and the galactic energy going hand in hand here with something that they want to bring through. So I think without further ado, I'll do that. And because I haven't got a spray to spray, I'm actually going to put some of this oil onto my throat, which is what you can do with these oils. So a bit of the Starlight Half Oil. And of course, orange is the complementary colour of blue. Blue is the colour of the throat. So I'm just loosening up my throat chakra and just activating it with that energy to allow this energy to come through. It's leaking out the bottle now, so it really did want to be with us. Steve Judd also talks about the hearth, the heart and the earth. Steve Judd is an astrologer that I follow. Okay. Let's just connect in and just see what wants to come through with regard to crop circles or anything else. And this star being is wanting me to show you this card. Okay, they go hand in hand. I drew this card earlier. It's quite a familiar card to some of you. You might have got this deck. It's the Stephen Farmer deck, Earth Magic. And it shows an angel. It's basically a depiction of spirit that's coming down and nurturing the earth, okay? And it's the card of nurture. And yeah, it's like this beautiful spirit being that's coming down. She's blowing breath into the earth, giving it life, okay? And when I saw that today, I've seen the picture many times before, but it spoke to me in a new way, which is to do with the fact that many of us that are in fear of what's happening on the earth and destruction of the earth and worrying about the earth's future, we spend a lot of time trying to do our bit, which we should, and sending healing to the earth. But it's almost as though we're forgetting the amazing support from above that is coming in to help us at this time. And I tell you what, the more I'm looking at this card, I don't know whether this is going to show up because it's very, very small detail here. But can you see above the lady's head, we have got here, I think it's there, we've got the stag again. And those of you that follow my Facebook page, and indeed those of you that watch my YouTube channel regularly, will know that I've been talking about stags and antlers and as a symbol. It's coming up all the time at the moment. It came up with, yeah, it's coming up all the time at the moment. I've talked about that. So we've got the stag there, we've got the lion, we've got birds, we've got butterflies, but we've got great spirit, basically, eagles coming in to also help support the earth. And so I feel as though, you know, the galactic being here is saying as well, don't forget that we are doing our bit as well to help you. And although you can't see us, and although sometimes you can't sense us, and although many of you even question whether we exist, we do, we are, and we will be shown more and more in the coming years and decades, until it becomes obvious that help from above is here and is acting in the best interests of Mother Earth. There's something here within this card as well, because she's blowing air into the atmosphere of the earth, cleansing it. And I'm realizing that one of the first things I looked at this morning when I was having my coffee, just had a quick look on Facebook, and there was a video of somebody who was showing what to do when a dog collapses. And this was a dog who was like a little pug, or one of the dogs which has got quite a squashed in face. Not boxer, there's another one. Anyway, doesn't matter, like a little pug. And in the heat it had collapsed and it had swallowed some food wrongly. And this video showed this lady, and she spent 20 minutes reviving it because she knew she could bring this dog back effectively from the dead, because it looked dead. It was lifeless, it was blue tongue, it wasn't breathing. But she believed in the fact that she could breathe life back into this dog. And so the video is of her basically blowing her own breath into the dog's mouth, reviving it, rubbing its heart, you know, getting it, trying to bring it back. And she managed it. It was amazing, amazing, amazing video. And I looked at that and I thought, wow. And I'm seeing now there's a symbolism here which is coming through from our galactic friends, which is saying that even though some of you despair over the destruction of the land, over what is happening to your earth, over the violence upon your earth as well, all of the difficulties that are there, please remember that we blow the breath of our spirit into your world every day. You don't realise. But it's going to become more and more obvious that we are going to do that. And going back to Mother Earth's message, which I know I said right at the beginning of this video, and I think it's probably quite a long video, so I'll have to wrap it up soon, just from an upload time speed. She talked about the fact that we're in these final contraction stage of labour, and it's going to be difficult. There are difficult things coming up. But Spirit is saying, don't worry, we're going to breathe life into where life still is needed, where life needs to prosper, where land needs to come back into its own, where help is needed. We will also, I want to go in the same way that I can blow that smoke away that's coming my way. We can remove the danger from you if and when it were to come close, okay? It is that simple. Spirit can come in and do that, and it can put you out of danger at any moment that it needs to. So there is a lot of love, there is a lot of help wanting to come in here, is the first thing that is coming through. Anything else with regard to the crop circles? Some of the language within the crop circles, some of the sacred geometry within the crop circles, we know you do not understand, for it comes from a different place, a different dimension, a different time. However, they are languages that can be easily learnt. You are like children upon the earth, and children are like sponges who can absorb information and energy and language very easily if you open up your mind and your heart to wanting to learn. It is not a barrier to you that you on first glance cannot understand. Go deeper and you will. Some of the signs and messages that are coming in the crop circles, even though they are removed by the farmer, by the crop being harvested, the energy of that code, of that sign, is still imprinted in the land, even though you can't see it. So it's as though what they are saying is that there are two stages to a crop circle's life and energy. The first stage is for us as human beings to be able to see it, to look at it, to absorb it, to welcome it in, to be grateful for it. Excuse me. Then it gets harvested. And then the second stage is the energy then sinks deeper, deeper, deeper into Mother Earth, into her core. And then it becomes and being shown like a fountain. It's like an energy that is taken into the core of Mother Earth, and we're back to the energy of fire, becomes more powerful, becomes alchemized into something else, so that eventually it can then come back up. And that probably is in the future when we have things like earthquakes, volcanoes, even just, you know, holes that appear in the land. Holes isn't the right word, I know, but, you know, it's like the energy then will come back up and be released. So nothing is lost. The circle that once was there and then the next day is not because the farmer has harvested it, it is still there. It's just sunk deep into the core of Mother Earth, and it is held there within her belly almost until she knows that human consciousness needs it again. So that is very clearly expressed as well. Okay, that is enough for now. That is enough for now. You can only take in so much information and energy in one go, and we have pushed the boundaries with this video, is what they are saying to me. We will reveal more. We will reveal more through the summer. And we love you. Okay. With thanks to Gaia, with thanks to Archangel Metatron, with thanks to the Galactic Beings of Light, with thanks to the humans who are able to access this knowledge and absorb it, with thanks to the animals. You hear that? The animals are so funny, they don't want to be left out. So yeah, with thanks to the animals. And actually that just gives me a moment to very quickly, because I know I've just been told that there's enough information on this video, but I did say I was just going to read you something about the horseshoe. And as we're talking about horses and animals, it seems appropriate. So we know that the horseshoe is a symbol of good luck, don't we? But there's a story here. The origin of the lucky horseshoe is traced back to St. Dunstan, a blacksmith who later became Archbishop of Canterbury, and the legend of his run-in with the devil. There are several versions of the tale, but all have the same outcome. The stories can't seem to agree on how he did it, but he is believed to have nailed a red-hot horseshoe to the devil's hoof, causing the devil great pain. The saint bargained with the devil and agreed to remove the shoe if the devil agreed to never enter a house or building with a horseshoe hung above the door. Other versions say that the devil simply avoided homes with horseshoes due to the turmoil it had once caused him. I love that, and I love the fact also that earlier on in this video we were talking about it's not about the 4 wild men or 4 wild horses of the apocalypse bringing famine and pain and evil into our world. It's actually about 4 beautiful white stallions, it almost feels like, who are coming in bringing, you know, those positive energies we were talking about in terms of peace, plenty, equality, and I can't remember what the last one was now. Obviously when I channel through, I don't always remember everything that comes through. So the horseshoe is a very important symbol for our times, and get yourself one. I'm going to get myself one. And also it talks about, I love this, yeah, this is nice. The use and meaning of the horseshoe is dependent upon your background and culture, obviously, but I like this one. The horseshoe is used as an ancient religious symbol in Egyptian cultures. It's often seen depicted in historic sculptures and hieroglyphs, which mean it's to signify the enigmatic door of life. Any symbol that has an open end, such as a horseshoe, is considered female because it symbolises how life enters the world. And life was that last one of the 4 qualities I couldn't remember. So peace, plenty, life and equality. So by having the horseshoe around our house, around our home, around our desk, or wearing it around our neck, we are, it's protective, but equally it's symbolising that new 5th dimensional consciousness, the new life, and also the return of the divine feminine. That's pretty beautiful, isn't it? Okay, right, I really will end it there, and wish you all well. Again, those of you that are new and you've not watched me before, my website is amandaellis.co.uk. My Facebook page is Angelic Celestial Colours with a U. You're watching me on my YouTube channel, Amanda Ellis 11, and the sprays are available to buy on my website shop as well. I think we've got about over 40 now, including the new 7 Archangels. I'll be making another video on them another day. Much love, everybody. Bye-bye for now. Namaste.